Hello, hello, and welcome everyone. This is going to be a little bit of a sort of unique thing I'm going to be trying to do. I don't know how successful it'll be. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it. But I just finished playing Tales of Arise, which is my 11th Tales game. So I asked a friend of mine to come in and basically, you know how when you go to like the gym and you need a spotter just to make sure you don't hurt yourself? That's kind of what radio is for me right now. So, my very first Tales game I ever played was Tales of the Abyss, way back. I want to say it was in, like, 2012 or something. Like, it was a while ago. And I'm going to do my best to remember as much of the plot as I can, but I already know. I'm going to get completely lost halfway through. Radio also has played Tales of the Abyss, but is kind of in the same boat I am of, like, yeah, and stuff happened.
It's just a flash of images and colors and different brightly colored hairs on different sorts of individuals. That's as much as I can vaguely recall here for Tales of the Abyss. I do know I like the game though. Liked it a lot.
I just finished my 11th Tales game, so if I hated the first one, I would not have continued playing another 10. But okay, here we go. Kind of the rules are, at least for me, if I'm going to try and recall the plot of a game, it has to be a game I have not played in at least 5 years, and a game I have not played. If let's say for example that there's like a big series going on, and like let's say I played Yakuza 6, and I was trying to go back and remember the plot of Yakuza 0, that's a little cheating because the games kind of build on each other, so you kind of get reminded of the old games by playing the new ones. But Tales of the Abyss is connected to anything, so I definitely think it's probably a fair game.
It's a tough thing to really manage because while the Yakuza games are essentially linked through your protagonist, Tales is like looking at one different series to another different series to another different series. The only thing that they seem to have in common is the combat and the name of Tales. Aside from that, it's each like focusing on a different protagonist, different set of antagonists, and the stories can be as wild as a bunch of people chasing down an airship to form a new group of pirates to you just trying to do your laundry for a day, and it just explodes into some sort of weird world-spanning journey. It's crazy. Now, I do have to ask Raka, we're talking about Tales here. There were 2 iterations that were released. One as far back as 2005, and one in 2012 for the 3DS, and one for the PlayStation 2. Which one did you play?
I played the PlayStation 2 one. I think I remember the, I don't know if the DS one was out yet. If it was, it did just come out. But from what I recall, so Tales of the Abyss, you start off, and you have this, like, sweeping thing that goes around, and you end up at this, like, mansion thing early in the game, and you're playing as this fabulous red-haired boy with just like hair longer than mine. My hair is really fucking long right now, and he puts mine to shame. I'm pretty sure, like, as he walks around, his hair tickles his butt. Like, it was down there, and he was wearing this like white shirt, but his shirt only came down to like his mid-sternum, so you got to see his abs the entire game, which I thought was like, hey, like, more for that. You always see women's midriff, and so the first time I ever saw a game that was like, yo, boy midriff, let's go.
I am looking at a picture of him. You could grate cheese on these abs. Oh my god.
And you start off and you're in his bedroom, and you're like waking up, which my like, the teacher I always had said do not ever start a story with waking up in bed, so obviously the game designers did not listen to my teacher. And this blonde kid comes in through your window because he doesn't believe in doors, and he's just like, hey, yo. And I don't remember why the hell he was there, but I remember he showed up, and he was like, hey, yo, there's some guy here to see you. And I'm just like, you just casually, like, climbed into my window. Like, here's the thing, in high school, I would do that to my girlfriend because I didn't want to wake her parents up. So I was like, do they have that kind of relationship? And the guy's name was literally Guy, and he was like, oh yeah, by the way, I hate girls. And I'm like, asked and answered. There you go.
There we go. Let it run.
So, but you go out into the mansion, and there's all these servants everywhere, and you have the option of meeting your parents, but weirdly enough, they like didn't matter to the plot at all. The sad thing is, I think of them as like an older version of Asbel Lant from Graces. I don't know if you played Graces.
Yes. Okay.
It was this like slightly worldly, a little bit pudgy, like slightly dark red-haired guy with like a mustache, I think. And then the mom was like a girl version of Hubert because she had like long blue hair.
Yeah.
And that's just a thing for like anime where like you always end up with the same color hair as your like same-sex parent.
Now, I'll give you special bonus points, Raka, if you can remember or recall the name of this guy's parents.
Oh, there's no oh, actually, Lord and Lady. Actually, what was his name? It was Luke von Fabra.
Yes, what a wonderful, wonderful name for our protagonist here.
But yeah, other than Lord von Fabra and Lady von Fabra, I do not remember their names.
So it's the biggest case of that one anime trope or one like kind of Mary Sue trope where you've inserted your name, like we have, you know, Squall, Leonhard, and da-da-da, and then my character's name is John, right? It's like these two characters got married. So the mom, it's Duchess Suzanne von Fabra, and then his father's name is, get this, Crimson Herzog von Fabra. Excuse me. Crimson and Suzanne are getting married. Come to our wedding.
Yeah.
What?
The cake better have been red velvet. Okay, that is fantastic. You can definitely tell which one Luke came after.
Really?
But then you like go out into the courtyard and your like sword instructor's out there and his name is Van, and I swear I may be making this up, but I think he was voiced by the same guy that voices Garen in League of Legends, because the dude has one fucking voice.
Break the ranks!
Because he ends up like every time I ever hear him, I'm like, that's the dude.
Michael McConaughey, who voiced Vaughn, he was in the Big O as Michael Sivak. He voiced Tatsu, apparently, in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
What,
the very
really?
first one. Apparently,
Interesting.
It's listed. He's in Overwatch. Don't know. It's not listed for, probably just an additional voice. He said he's in League, potentially. You might have heard him in League. So I'll know exactly where we've also heard him from. He is our favorite executioner, axe-wielding fighter from Soul Calibur. Astaroth is who he is.
Die!
So checking this, he is in League, but not as Garen. He plays someone named Xerath, Xerath. Xerath?
Oh, interesting. Well, in my voice, apparently Van sounds completely different than he sounds. But, so, okay, you're out there, you're in the courtyard, and you're all like, hey, yo, I'm here for sword lessons or whatever. By the way, Luke has, like, one of these weird shape-changing swords. I remember in, like, the intro, there's a point where he's fighting another red-haired guy, and he runs up a wall, and his sword just, like, changes. It's almost like the Sword of Omens from Thundercats, where it just, like, changes the length depending on the angle it's being shown from.
That's awesome.
But you're out there, and you're sitting there, and you're learning sword lessons, and all of a sudden this girl walks in, and she's like, hey, yo, I'm here to kill Van. And she, like, starts using magic, and then the magic goes crazy, and then all of a sudden you and her are just in a forest.
As you do.
Yeah, just, like, as you do. I feel like, and I don't know, I don't know if I should, like, talk about why that happened, but I'm going to.
I feel like you should. You're recalling it. This is all from memory here. So tell us why. You know.
At this point,
who's the girl?
her name is Tyr. If I'm, she has like long brown hair. Apparently, everyone in this game has long hair except for guys so far. But she has like long brown hair, and she's wearing. I almost think of them as like monk robes, but they're just like these long, almost like Jedi-like outfit. And I don't remember if she even used a weapon. I think she just sang at people, but I'm not positive.
She is holding a scepter.
Scepter. Thank you. I remember specifically because she was like a phonic singer, and I was like, what the fuck are phonic songs? And it gets to my first Tales game, and I was playing this with other people, and I'm like, is this a thing that you guys just know? Because this seems like incredibly complex. And they're like, no, they only show up in this one game. But yeah, apparently, for whatever reason, Luke is able to do something called like hyper-resonating, and it like fucks with the magic, and it makes magic more powerful, but only when he knows what the hell he's doing, and he has no clue what he's doing. So my personal pet theory is that he was just like, oh, this girl's cute, I want to take her on a picnic, and so it just like changed the magic, and boom, they're in a forest together.
I was often causing lots of hyper resonance when I was next to girls that I liked a lot when I was in high school as well. But usually the teleportation involved me running away in fear and being scared and frightened whenever they would talk to me. So yeah, I agree with that. Big identifying with Luke here. That's me.
That's probably why you like the game so much. So okay, you're in the forest, and she's like, I feel like she was like, "Fuck you," and just like started to leave, and then she was like, "This kid is hopeless, and if I just leave him in the forest, he'll just get eaten by monsters, and that's just be the end of his life." So she comes back and she escorts you out of the forest, and I don't remember if there was anything special about the forest other than it existed. But I do know after you get out, there's this big like land speeder fortress thing that just like stops and picks you up like we're hitchhikers or something. And there's this his name's Jade, and he's like the only male badass magic user in the Tales series, I swear. Every single game, the like best and coolest magic user is always a girl, except not in Abyss, it's fucking Jade, and he's amazing. I remember he just had this very, very, very dulcet and almost militaristic tone to his like, voice lines.
O admonishing melody, arise in the name of the necromancer.
There is one minute thing that you kind of skipped over there, Raka. So, upon landing in the forest in Valka, they found a Cheagle named Mew, right?
Oh, fucking yes, Mew!
But here's the thing, and this may or may not divide us here, because either this is the most liked character or the most annoying character in the Abyss. How do you feel about Mew?
Well, considering I forgot Mew existed, I don't actually hate Mew. I don't think Mew is a bad character, but I think Mew is a throwaway, pointless character. It was just like this little plushie that Luke would hold forward. It would spit fire when you like. Yeah. It almost felt like one of those little dolls that you would pull the string and it would like say a voice line, and that was the whole. Yeah. I'm like, just give him a ring of sorcery and move on with the game.
I feel as if your forgetting of Mew is inherent to the plot and how Mew's introduced, because Mew shows up and the elder for all the Cheagles are like, Mew burned down half of our village and caused us to move here. Take him with you. And Luke's like, okay. and that's how Mew ends up with Luke. So it's pretty funny that you completely forgot about him, because Luke wants nothing at all to do with him in the game. Just no. I don't want him. And
what I remember, like occasionally, a few times in the game, you'll like get a upgrade that makes Mew spit further. But other than that, he has like, other than maybe showing up and going, like, he's not. He doesn't talk. He doesn't have an opinion. He's not relevant to the story. Well, okay. So you get onto this big ass landscape, and I remember they're hunting something called the Darkwings. I was super disappointed because like the Darkwings seemed like this cool, like almost radical dreamers thieves group roaming around, and I was really interested to see what they would do. And from what I remember, you never hear about them again.
They're mentioned, and then you don't talk about them ever again. They never existed. Biggest letdown. It
made me so upset because I was so eager to. I was like, "Oh, cool! I wonder where this is going." Fucking nowhere. And this is where I already am getting into a moment of, because I remember we were on the land speeder, and we went to like a town or two to look for the Darkwings and didn't find anything. Or maybe I'm just a bad gamer. We could have found something, but I didn't. And eventually, I know somehow or other, Guy ends up finding the land speeder. Because he's just like, yeah, you disappeared. I said I was going to go find you. And I'm like, how the hell did you? It'd be like if I disappeared and reappeared in France and then walked down the line and all of a sudden my buddy was like, hey, Raka.
I'm here now.
I came to look for you, and I'm like, what? Because I don't remember sending like a letter home or anything. I don't know. I think, actually, you know what? I think Jade may have said something to the Von Frabers about, hey, yo, we found your kid. Because he is, like, nobility.
Yeah.
And I think, if I remember correctly, Jade was not part of the same kingdom that Luke was, but they weren't at war, although it was like there was going to be a war, so Jade was like, you might want to, like, not be here, because I don't know what's going to happen if the war is actually declared and you're still on my military vessel.
Mm-hmm.
But it even...
Ketterberg and, what was it, where Jade's from? Vatical? Are like near, we're gonna fight, maybe, but we're waiting for one excuse just to start throwing hands with one another. That we need you to get out of here, Luke, please.
We're really, really trying to stop war from happening, so can you please not have, like, a magical prince teleporting through our kingdom?
And Luke's just like, oh, I hyper-resonated for the first time. I'm sorry, it's not like this usually. I promise. I'm so sorry.
Oh god, and then this is where I really do, because it's like, I remember the like, land speeder gets attacked, and I remember, I don't remember, because this is where we first run into Ash, and I feel like one of Van's generals, I want to call them cardinals, but I don't think they're called cardinals in this game, because they're called cardinals in Symphonia.
Oracles.
Okay, I think Ash and one other oracle is there. But I don't necessarily remember if they're attacking the land speeder or they're just showing up to help. But I just remember Ash shows up and Luke has this like really kind of cool, but it pissed me off, moment where he gets into his first fight with another human being and he just can't fight them because he's never had to like try and kill another human being before. And like none of his buttons work and I'm just like, what is happening?
Okay.
And Ash shows up and like I think saves you, and then sort of like looks down, sneers, and just walks off, doesn't say a fucking word to you. But I'm trying to remember, like, I know they show up, but I can't remember what happens at this one. So I'm gonna jump ahead to the next thing I do remember, and then Radio can be like, okay, here's the 18 things you forgot.
Okay, alright, let's just see where you end up here.
Because I remember the whole thing was that, I think we have to go to, like, the capital of the church and talk to Ion about this prophecy, where Luke is supposedly in the prophecy, and he's going to go to this village and go to the city and cause great destruction. And Luke is very much like ambivalent to all of this because he's had decisions made his whole life, and he's like, okay, yeah, that sounds like a thing I could do. And then at some point they're like, okay, Luke, you just need to not go to this village. Because bad things will happen if you go there, so just stay home forever. But Luke has gotten out in the world now, and he's like, I don't know, I can fight other people now, like, this is a whole new world I never knew existed. I could be a hero. And somehow or other, he gets, like, a letter from Van, and Van is just like, they won't ever allow you freedom, they won't ever allow you free reign, they're going to keep you, like, caged up in a box until you go to the city and nothing happens. Because as long as there's the promise that you might somehow go to that city, then the prophecy will just stand still. You need to go there, and you need to not blow it up, and then we can move on with life. We need to break the prophecy. And Luke's like, yeah, that sounds great.
I mean, yeah, you pretty much nailed it. So, from start to finish, you were completely right. It's Jade and the second in command, Anise, who's also with him.
Oh, we've already found Anise? Oh my god. So
yeah. He shows up with them there on the ship. She's with him from then on.
Here's the thing I've got to say. I remembered Anise existed. I don't remember hardly anything. I know she's small. I want to say she has pink hair. And in my brain, she is 100% supplanted by Presea from Symphonia, who was also small with pink hair and just had an amazing story.
That's a shame her hair is not pink. You have completely removed her from your brain, Raka.
Wait, did she have...
completely eradicated her entirely.
Did she have brown hair?
So her hair is this kind of really dark green. It's almost gunmetal green. Her entire outfit is pink though. It is.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just like, wow, poor sad Anise. I'm so sorry. Raka has completely just tossed you into the trash bin along with Mew. I'm so sorry, honey. I'm so sorry.
So can you tell me my party for this entire game was Luke, Guy, Jade, and Tyr?
I mean, there's no reason to switch. There's no reason at all. Yeah, you get your good. It happens in every Tales game. You get your standard party, your good party, and you get the people that you want, and then you have your trash fill-in members for when those other party members go somewhere that the story dictates. Oh, I've got to go and fulfill my prophecy and talk to my parents. All right, get in here, trash kid. Get in here for a little bit. When they come back, you're out. So enjoy your time off the bench.
I almost feel a little bit bad for forgetting about her. But yeah, that is the thing. And because the other character is Natalia, I do at least remember her. She was the princess of the kingdom. I don't remember where you get her, but it's one of those things. I'm like, oh hey, Archer, cool. So here's the bench.
But no, you are 100% right, Raka. Completely, we've got our 4-party assembled, and we were completely attacked by the God Journals of the Oracle Knights, who want to retrieve, in big quotes, Ion, in the name of the Grand Maestro, Moz. Is the whole idea.
I forgot Moz existed. Thank you.
No worries. So they want to unlock the Ion. They want to use Ion to unlock the seals that go across the world, which is why they want to learn like a technique. So they get back to what is it, Kimlaska, and that's when they meet Vaughn. And Vaughn says, "Hey, this is why they want you. They want to use your cool hyper resonance power and turn you into a weapon. But I don't want to do that for you. I'm gonna offer you a chance to be rescued, and we're gonna live free, like kings, like cool damn ass kings. And everyone's gonna behold your awesome abs." And Luke's like, "Yup, let's do it."
Okay, so yeah, that's because I remember. I forgot what the fuck Vaughn said, but I remember that like, for some reason Luke goes to the place he's supposed to blow up, and then when he gets there, there's like this whole thing, and then he like loses control again, and he blows it up, and he's like, "Whoever could have seen this coming?" And I remember this actually starts a kind of little sad arc where everyone on the like shuttle is just like, Luke is a fucking dumbass, and they're all really mean to him for a while. And Luke is like, I forget if this is where Luke is super mopey or if he does one other really stupid thing. I want to say it's here. And he's just like, he just is really down on himself. And it takes a while, but eventually the other party members are like, wow, he actually cares. Like, thousands of people are dead, but he actually feels bad.
It's a twofold kind of thing where Luke is super hyped to be free from the life of confinement that he's like getting away from, and he acts like a jerk because he's gonna be a hero now and he's gonna be cool. And then he starts suffering from the anime trope of I'm really powerful, so I'm catching lots of headaches and stuff. And that's when we discover that, oh hey, he's kind of got hypnotic suggestions that Vaughn is using that forces him to use his hyper resonance to destroy a structure over a city called Sephiroth.
Wait, was it actually called Sephiroth?
It was called Sephiroth. just call it Sephiroth. Who's gonna sue us? It's a tree, but it's a Sephiroth tree, right? It's just a tree called Sephiroth.
Okay, I just want to stop for a second and pay attention to the fact that a big looming thing that falls and kills people is named Sephiroth.
There's no link here. What are you talking about? The tree also had lots of fruit on it that were called meteors when they dropped. Oh, no, they weren't. Well, we were thinking about it. That's where he had to draw. The guy who created this had to draw the line right there. He's like, okay, guys, come on. No, Namco's gonna get sued. We have to stop this immediately.
You can be on the nose, but you can't be in the nose. Leave the bookers alone.
Well, but I came up with this new musical theme for the tree. It's called Four-Winged Angel. No. Get it out. Get out of here.
So that they destroyed the city that was, I'm sure, a very nice city. And I think it still got left as a crater in the ground. Oh god dang. It's like at this point in the game, if I remember correctly, it goes into this like long sequence, and I'm sure it all made sense at the time, but you were like planet hopping and going here to here to here, and you were kind of chasing after the oracles from what I remember. I remember each of the like main characters ended up having an oracle they were kind of like linked into. Cause like if I remember there were 6 oracles, and there was like Van and the 6 oracles under them.
Yes.
They had like Ash, who was the oracle that looked very, very much like Luke for some reason that I'm sure has nothing to do with the plot. Wink.
Don't worry about that.
There was Sync, who looked very, very similar to Ion with a mask on, who I'm sure has no purpose and no reason for that to be relevant to the plot. Wink. What was his name? There was another magic user that was apparently like went to school with Jade and was trying to bring back it was either Nebelheim or Nefelheim, who was there like was basically making a zombie wizard because this was the like lady that taught them both, and he has like a massive crush on her, which isn't creepy at all.
Alrighty. Do you want to hint to the name? Maybe a starting letter potentially, or anything like that.
For Nebelheim or for the other person?
Either. We'll just go down we'll go down the list. We've got 6, and you're 2 for 6 now.
Okay, well, so yeah, you've got Ash and you've got Sync, and then you've got what was it? It wasn't Dist, was it? I feel like Dist was in Symphonia.
You nailed it. It's Dist the Reaper. Correct.
Okay. There's some other like pompy guy that sits in a chair in Symphonia. But there's Dist, and then you've got who are the other 3? I mean, it's 6 under Van, correct? It's not 6 including Van?
Correct.
Okay, so other than that, there was one girl. I feel really bad saying this. I feel like she had pink hair, but we all know that my brain of pink hair is just a thing. But she was like Ariella the Beastmaster or something like that.
She did have pink hair. Ariata the Wild, or the Beast.
So her I remember specifically because it was really weird. Everyone else had these things that were going on, and you would like run into them as they were trying to do nefarious things. And Arietta was just like in a tower with her animals, and you just go and beat her up. And weirdly enough, too, she's like the only one that actually dies. I think I'm not sure if you kill her, but she like falls off the tower, and you just never see her for the rest of the game. And that ends up being kind of early on compared to all the other ones. Okay, who are the other 2? There's fucking Largo. Largo is Natalia's dad. And here's the problem. Another thing in my memory, I try and think of him. I'm like, oh yeah, he's a big guy with like a scruffy beard and a rocket launcher. Wait, no, that's Valkyria Chronicles.
Oh my goodness.
His name was Largo, and I played it like the game after Abyss was Valkyria Chronicles.
Oh jeez.
So, like, Largo just had never had a chance of being remembered for other than he shared that name. Who was the last one? Okay, let's see. So Natalia goes to Largo. I think that the green-haired girl, whose name I totally remember, went with the Wild. That whole sequence I just forgot. Luke obviously goes into Ash. Ion is into Sing. Tyr goes into Van.
The dots. So it is tough to have you make syncs when we don't have a full party assembled yet.
That leaves Guy, and that leaves okay, yeah, Jade went into Dist. So who does Guy connect to? I don't remember.
Oh,
I'm so close. Yeah, okay. Was this? Wait. Was no, the dude with the green hair was the guy that looked like Ion?
Yes, but that's not who's connected to Guy.
I vaguely remember him, but I don't remember anything about him.
You give up?
I unfortunately do.
Oh, shame. Lagretta the Quick.
Oh, I would have never gotten that. I need to look her up now, but I'm not going to look her up now because I might see something else.
Okay. Oh, do you just? I could just send you a picture, just to keep up. That's what I am assisting here. That's all.
Go for it. Oh, I do remember her now because she was bullshit to fight because she had guns and she would like run around and it was just like I'm like come the hell back.
As soon as I saw the pistols, I was like, wait, no, time out, TTT.
Did you ever play Yakuza 1?
Yes.
It's just like that fucker that used like gun kata, and it's just like you just had to spend forever as Kiryu trying to chase him down, and you just boom, and then Kiryu would fall down, and it took Kiryu like 27 minutes to recover from being shot. Which, to be fair, he got fucking shot. I get it, but still, that fight took forever.
Beat me on the roof, Kiryu, and then he's just flipping around like Keanu Reeves with guns that don't have any sort of reload at all, just shooting everybody and everything. Yeah, I hated that guy.
I mean, she wasn't as bad, but that's what she reminds me of. That's how I remember that she exists. Okay, but getting back, like I said, there's a like period of time where it's like you're chasing around the different generals as they're going around trying to get stuff. I remember there was a whole series of dungeons, and you were trying to go in there and stop them from overloading these things at the core, because, and I'm probably going super late game, but Vaughn kept trying to overload these like critical points in the planet's crust in order to make the planet implode. I don't remember why he wanted to do that.
You're actually completely right where we need to be. Well, technically, you only just kind of mulled over the parts where we destroyed the city. We've discovered the plan of Vaughn. Like, that's where you're at right now. You bringing that up is exactly where we need to be, so you nailed it in one.
Fantastic. Like I said, I've got a decent memory for these things, but not. It's like I couldn't just go through, and that's why you're here, because I'm like, and there was this thing, and I remember like there was this whole thing where Luke was slowly getting better and better and better, hyper resonating, and he would be able to go in and like, because Vaughn would overload these joints, and then Luke would un-overload them, but he'd have to do that by like taking power into himself. And I remember at some point in the game, you find out that like all this hyper resonating is actually like making Luke sick, and he's going to eventually die. And it's really sad, but he's like, I don't care if I die, we need to stop Vaughn. Like, I'm not just going to like lay in bed and wait for the end while the planet's dying. So he just keeps like chin-upping and going out there. I also, and this is, unfortunately, this is just where like flash in the pans are happening. There's a point, I want to say about 60% through the game, where you end up having to, you get in this like plane, and you fly out into an island, and your pilot is named Noelle, and she's blonde, and she's cute, and I love her. I don't know why I have this like very vivid memory of Noelle, but the plane crashes, and there's this like little island adventure where you go around, and I don't remember anything that happens on the island, but you have to repair the plane and come back, and it seemed like just a completely nothing adventure, but I got to hang out with Noelle, so it was okay.
It was fine. It all worked out.
I think there was also a mechanic on the plane. Don't ask me anything about him.
Oh gosh.
That was the side character that just like actually stays with me forever. And then I know at one point you have to like dist, but I want to kind of talk about what, like the revelations we have about the other people. I've already talked about some of them, but I remember that Sync was the like going to be a prototype Ion, but his like personality was fucked up. And so they were like, you don't get to be like Ion anymore because Ion has to talk to people, and you keep like slicing people up. And that's not what our spokesperson has to be. So here, put on this fucking mask and wear it forever. And then Sync is kind of like, what am I, the Phantom of the Opera? And they're like, shut the fuck up.
Oh jeez.
I remember there is, so you're going around and you're stopping all these things. There's also like a weird thing, like I said, the cardinals keep kind of resolving as time goes on. Largo, you find out that Luke isn't actually the Von Fabra's kids. And he's like a replicant of some other person that looks suspiciously like him. I have no idea who that could be. I forget exactly how they got the original Luke to go along with that. It's like, hey, yo, we want to make this clone and like let him live as a prince, and you can go out and be a soldier. And like, if I was a fucking prince, I'd be like, yeah, fuck off. But for some reason, he goes along with it. So you find out that Luke is a replicant, and I remember a whole lot, like over and over and over again. You end up with these scenes with Ash, and Ash is like, replicant! It's the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, a very emotional game, don't get me wrong, but there's just parts of it that I'm just like... And I know after you, like, Largo, like, Natalia also is, like, not actually... she's the princess, but not really. Because she was adopted by the king and queen, but she's Largo's kid. And there's just, like, this scene where she's like, why did you give me up? And he's just, like, cuts and walks off. It was... I don't remember. It was just one of those, like, she tried. If I remember correctly, I might just be making this up, but there was this whole thing about trying to like get to know him more as a person and redeem him as a character, and he's just like, I don't want to be a dad.
Oh,
that's why I let the king take you. But you know what?
I remember that coming up, yeah.
But if you turned out pretty well, so good on you. Bye.
I knew if I was a deadbeat dad, that would work out for your betterment, and I'm glad I was right. And I don't have to be a dad anymore. Wait, what? Huh?
What have I forgotten before we go to Hod? Because Hod is the next thing I remember. I'm sure it's a bunch.
It's just so the revelation of Luke going into after the destruction of the thing, and the party kind of turns their back on them. The group finds out that there's an entire world under the planet's surface, which is a deadly sea of miasma. That's the part that you kind of left out.
Okay, interesting. I knew that happened. I thought it happened after Hod, or maybe we go there after Hod, but we found out about it now.
So Luke goes comatose from using the hyperresonance, and finding out that he is a replica. Like, that's what we find out.
Okay. Because, yeah, I remember there is a world under there, and it turns out that, like, Tyr and Van are from that place. And Van was just... I almost want to say that Van's whole plot was like, you know what? The surfacers don't even know that my people exist, and we're doing all this shit in order to keep the, like, world together and afloat. Let's just fucking blow the surface up, and then we don't have to do all this work anymore.
You're totally right.
And then Tyr is just like, you can't just blow up a world because you don't want to work.
It's literally the most convoluted plan that he's ever enacted in the entire world, man. Look, Tales of Abyss, it's great. I love this game, but sometimes just the ideas and the plans that these people put into effect are just far too, like, out. There's too much to put together, you know?
I my personal, like, belief on this is it's just like he's sitting there and he's all like, okay, so I'm really lazy, so how do I let myself be lazy? I know, I will impersonate a sword master, learn to be the best in the craft, infiltrate the, like, holy order, get all of these knights together, plant a replica, teach him to use like, dude!
This seems like way too much effort for what you want to do. You could just do it yourself, right? Like, there's too many steps here, Vaughn. Are you sure you want to do this? Yeah, it's a great plan, I promise. Literal years down the drain. Years.
But I know at some point we have to go out to Hod, and Hod is this, like, super, almost, like, I say skeletal, but I don't actually mean, like, bones sticking up, but it's just this waste of a civilization. There's towns, there's villages, there's places, like, you can see it's this, like, old castle, but just everything is just bankrupt and wasted there. And we come to find out that A, this is where Guy is from, and B, that somehow or other the von Fabra family was responsible for what happened. I forget what the hell they did, but Guy's whole plan was to infiltrate the von Fabras and, like, avenge his family, because his, like, whole area got taken out because of the von Fabras. And I forget why we went there, but it's Guy apparently just has, like, I swear, Guy, if I was a character in Tales of the Abyss, at least mentally, it would probably be Guy, because, like, he has the same problem that I do whenever I play D&D characters, where I make this big backstory and this is what I want to do, and I get to session 1 and I'm like, but I want everyone to like me. Because he, like, gets into the von Fabra residence and he's just like, you know what, this Luke is pretty cool, and the von Fabras are nice to me, and the food is good. I don't know that I want to kill people anymore. Can I have another sweet roll? But we do find out that it's tragic and it makes me feel like a bad person. But apparently the reason Guy can't stand being touched by women, which is played for laughs the entire game, is that, like, a bunch of the women, like, shielded and protected him, and so every time a woman touches him, he just has this mental image of just dead women everywhere.
Oh.
So that's fun.
It's one of those kind of weird things where where the game does an immediate, like, set of whiplash courses on me, where, oh, this funny goofy thing where this guy, haha, he can't be around women, haha, he's embarrassed, and it's just, you look at him and then he just has a 1,000-yard stare, and you're like, oh no, did something happen? And you find out what happened, you go, oh, Guy, I'm so sorry, oh no, oh, that's horrible. But yeah, after a night of horror caused by the Duke, here, Duke Fabra, who invaded his house and killed his whole family. Thank you. Gotta go ahead and get some sweet, sweet revenge on him and stuff.
And I don't think Guy ever gets. I think he kind of gives up on it after a while because then we get into like the last act because the Haunt is like the last thing before the end game starts to ramp up.
Yes.
And we go into wherever the hell, like another one of these coupler things that Van's trying to overload, but this time Van's not fucking leaving. Always before we would go in after him and like stop it from collapsing. But this time Van is just there and he's up at this, I remember there's this like staircase that goes up and up and up and up forever. And Ash is there and then Ash comes to like respect Luke as an actual like, I won't say person, but at least an actual personality instead of just like a cheap knockoff. And there's this big scene where like for some reason all of the like soldiers of the church are attacking Ash and Ash is holding them all back while the party goes up to try and deal with Van. And there's this cool moment where whoever you take into the fight with Van, like all of them have reasons to hate Van and they all like say it in the fight. And you go through and you go into Van and you Goomba stomp him. And then, in really, like, one of the few times this actually turns out well, there's, like, another maybe, like, 2 hours after that, because you, like, wake up afterwards, because, like I said, Luke was supposed to be dying, and then he doesn't quite die, and then there's, like, another fight with Van, because it's, like, supposedly over, but then Luke wakes up, and you kind of go around, there's, like, it's almost like a Persona-esque epilogue, except not quite, where, if you remember, like, you go around and you talk to all your friends, and then eventually you find out, oh, there's another dungeon, and you go and actually beat the game.
Yes.
But here's the, like, most games I play do not do that very well. By the time I'm like, I thought I was done. But in this case, I actually was into it. I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, let's do this. Because it was just handled well, and it felt almost like a cathartic, like, end chapter, as opposed to an additional ramp up after you thought you were done. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because one of the things that Tales of the Abyss did was, and I think it was it's rare. It was rare at the time when I played it, but it still happened, is include kind of a bit of a time skip, like a time jump almost at a certain point, where after you finish this kind of fight and the generals are all kind of done with the plans and you finish with their reasons, it's like several months later. What's happening now? No, Luke, I thought we were done. We beat the bad guys. We won. No. Luke is still kind of having issues with who he is because he knows he's not a person per se, right? He's a replica. And then, oh hey, guess what? The God Generals, they came back, and Vaughn is actually assimilating himself into this ultra powerful thing, and you got to go stop him again. And since Ash kind of accepts you and does all this stuff, it's like it's growth, it's character development. It's why we like playing games like this, because we get to see these characters overcome and build and move on too as well. It's really nice.
I also remember I think it's called Mirrors. There's a theme that plays during your, there is a point where you either fight Ash or during your fight with Vaughn. I think at one point you fight Ash because that's the moment where Ash like accepts you. There's this, it redoes like the intro theme and it's beautiful. It's one of my favorite memories. For a while, I actually like would sneak it into other things when I would like the final episode. I would just like have mirrors very slightly in the background in certain points.
Nothing better than a reiteration of the theme that you started here. So gotta bring it all back again.
That one?
Yeah.
Still there? But yeah, I remember I love this game. I was really kind of blown away by it. The other thing that I think that, kind of looking back on it after all of these years, first of all, I'm surprised at how well I remembered, like, a lot of it. I mean, definitely I kind of, it was like, okay, here's a very, very detailed description of where the game starts. And then we jump around a bit, and then Vaughn. But still... oh, gee. I feel like there's more I should say, but I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. So we left off. We've beaten Vaughn here. That's where we kind of left off?
Yep.
Okay. Um, well, what happens afterwards? Do we remember or recall what happens to Luke after all this? So he beats Vaughn, and the group beats Vaughn. What happens to him afterwards?
So I remember,
where's he go?
I remember there's this very, very, very like almost vague and unsure ending. Because we're in this, the ending happens in like a field, and there's like white lilies everywhere. And I know Tyr is there. Maybe the other party members are there too. I can't remember. But I know Tyr is there. And then Luke or Ash or both get up, because it's really not clear which person is kind of in control at the end. And I don't remember why there was some theory about whether or not Ash would be able to resume control of the body, or if he was even trying to. But I know Luke was there, but the ending was very, very vague on how much of it was Luke.
For my opinion, I always thought that it was just a new creation blending of the two. Like, they were Luke and Ash, but at the same time they also kind of weren't, because it's a 2-year gap between the end of the game that we play it and then the final like epilogue, you could go ahead and call it, where Tyr and everybody else comes back, and they kind of commemorate Luke and Ash sacrificing themselves at Eldron's Fall because they get thrown into the earth to save the world and everything. And then that lily field that they have, it does that thing that we see in all the animes where the wind blows and everyone kind of pauses and looks back, right? And then you see the figure, but you can't really see it. That vagueness has to be
absolutely
there. Yeah, I think it's up to you really how you want that to go. It could be because a friend of mine was like, nah, it's just Luke. I like to think Ash gave Luke a piece of his soul and was able to let him just be a normal person and live a normal life, etc., etc., etc. And I was like, it's a good theory. I like that, but I think it's completely dependent on the player and how they've accepted the story as we see it thus far.
I think my pet theory, and admittedly it was purely a pet theory, it wasn't like, this is what happened, here's how I know. But my pet theory was always that, Ash had kind of been willing to die because Luke had grown enough that he was okay with Luke taking his place in the world. And by virtue of that action, I do kind of feel like it is primarily Luke, but Luke has now intentionally tried to embody what Ash was trying to be. So it's sort of like a meld, but it's almost like a meld because Luke is choosing to meld with who he thinks Ash should be. I don't necessarily think it's like a mystical Ash's spirit came into Luke.
Plus, who's gonna keep those abs buried for 2 years? You can't.
Oh, absolutely. It'd be a travesty.
Crime against humanity. There's no way. They're too shiny and too nice.
I got very distracted playing the entire game as Luke. I'm just gonna say it.
I remember when I was presented with the art that I was like, why are his abs so prominent? And they were just like, because it's cheesecake stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but damn, like, I'm getting jealous. I should not want to be jealous of my protagonist, but his personality won me over, so it's fine. Keep the abs out, boy.
What's actually interesting is that as much as we started off saying that I really like the game, I do like the game, I'm almost positive I would have stopped playing it if I hadn't been playing it with other people. Because, like, I mean, back in the time I was streaming on YouTube, and Luke's personality bothered the shit out of me until he blew up the city, and I was like, oh shit, I'm an asshole. Because he was just so pompous and so full of himself, and so, yeah, but why do I have to walk? Like, I was just like, punch this boy in the head. And I may have put the game down, but I'm so glad I stayed with it.
And it's good development too, because Luke, at the point where we find him in the very first opening beginnings of the game, he's so sheltered that when Tyr gets him out into the world for the first time, he just straight up, like, if I remember right, he steals or just takes an orange or like an apple in a marketplace.
Oh, I do remember that. Oh my god, yeah?
Yeah, and he just takes it, and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, what, just the fruit. He's like, you gotta pay for it. He's like, pay for it? With what? Like with money, what are you Are you insane? Like, yeah, I should just get whatever I want. It's this blank slate man baby of a character learning the actions that he causes outside of the world of his little safe bubble have consequences, real life serious consequences, and the fact that he grows and learns from it is the reason why you can warm to Luke really fast. You know, his upbringing is not really his fault, but you do have to fault him for the way that he acts, because it's not how a hero that we know should act, right?
No, absolutely. And this is my very first Tales game I'd ever played, and I was like, what is this? Who is this? Why do I want to root for this character?
Who's this a-hole? I don't like him.
I'm like, why can't I just, like, play as Tyr and kill Vaughn? Like, if I was controlling Tyr, then we would have, like, won in the first 3 seconds. Step 1, kill Luke. Step 2, kill Vaughn.
Step 3, marry Noelle and run off.
Absolutely.
There we go. Now, from what we have been able to recall, Raka, do we have a favorite character?
Including Noelle or not including Noelle?
We'll say of the primary cast for now.
Jade?
Okay.
Jade, I just remember, like, literally every single line that Jade has in the game is just sardonic gold. Like, everyone else is just kind of over, and then Jade just kind of comes in. He also has this, like, super deep voice to everyone else, because Luke is kind of going around, and he's just like, I'm not a blah, blah, blah. And then Guy is also kind of like, blah, 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 blah. And then Jade is just, enough. You know, it's so distinct.
Literally running around with these idiotic children. I'm trying my best here to make sure they don't get themselves killed.
He also, I want to say he was like in his 30s or late 20s, which is ancient by RPG character standards.
May as well go into the old folks' home, Jade. You just get out of here. Jade is 35. Compared to, I think, Anise was the youngest. Yeah, Anise is 13.
No wonder Jade was so just done with life. If Anise is his second in command, he's like, what the fuck happened?
This is as best as we can do here. This 13-year-old child with the haunted toy. God.
Oh fuck, I'd forgotten about her toy. Yeah, the plushie that she just rode around and like, ah!
Yeah. This is as best as we can do, huh? This is really alright, fine, whatever. Bring the child with me. It's cool.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about the whole, like, ramp up to war. That, like, because the two nations kept getting closer and closer to war throughout the plot. And then all of a sudden, like, when Vaughn blew up a city, they're like, oh, fuck. Because I don't think they ever actually went into war. But there was, like, an imminent threat of it. And then all of a sudden, like, Azurbaijan or whatever it was called, blew up. And then they were just sort of like, you just never heard about war again. They were like, okay, we're gonna, like, we were just having some fun with some soldiers. You guys are, do
whatever it is that you want to do over there. This got way more serious than we actually planned for it to be. We're gonna back out. Big T, gotta go now. Bye. Lots of flashes of Trigun as well. That was a big vibe that I caught when I first played this game too. Especially
interesting.
With Luke, because of the unexpected title of like city destroyer or unwilling protagonist with very dangerous background or reputation kind of following them around when they clearly don't want it is one that because I watched Trigun before I ever played Tales of Abyss, and as soon as we got to Sephiroth and the event happened, I immediately thought of Vash, and I said, oh, okay. All right, he's going to start carrying that guilt around, and that guilt will mature him, hopefully. And it did, because, you know, that's the proper steps for it to take. The game's easy to explain tropes and almost kind of expected tropes, you know, your amnesic protagonist, cute, goofy side character, plucky but earnest second banana character who's best friends with amnesic protagonist are all kind of put to the side. and accept it because the story and the characters are still really great, even with the things that happen with them.
Oh,
I like this.
100%. However, you can't sidestep your own question. Who is your favorite character?
I always love Natalia, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Natalia, I think one of the first times, because as every Tales game comes with a opening with an anime theme over it, the shot of her using her bow and arrow to shoot like 7 or 8 creatures all directly in a row against a tree made me like drop my jaw when I was watching. Oh, that looks so. Who is this? And I don't think at the time I'd ever played an action RPG with a character who used a bow and arrow. She's kind of the only one I can think of that fought at range that wasn't magic. So just the idea of keeping a distance with a bow and arrow was always interesting to me. Loved her personality. Like the presentation of her of this kind of really plucky bow and arrow user. I also dig her that she seems more mature than everybody. You know, she's a little bit demanding and kind of harsh, but I think she does it all for her kingdom and her people. So I've always had a strong liking towards Natalia. I think she's definitely my favorite.
That's interesting because the two of us, when we had to list favorite characters, we were basically one of the grown-ups in the room because you said Natalia and I said Jade.
Yeah, honestly, like it's not to take away from any of the, and that's like everyone else runs a close second. Like for me, like second is Tyr and Guy are both close runners up to me, but I've always liked Natalia more.
100%. And now my question, though I'm sure I'll get it back in a second. Of the main antagonists, which was your favorite?
Ooh, of this Organization 13 Light here that we've got. Weirdly enough, I'm going to say Ariana. I like Ariana because, and it's not fair, because Ariana reminds me of a character from another RPG I played called Ark the Lad. I don't know what it is about cute kids wielding deadly dolls or weapons or things like that, but I always like them. They're always really fascinating enemies to me, usually because their motivations aren't one of malevolence or maliciousness. There's always some underlying thing where either they've been steered in this direction or they're in mourning and their anger's kind of misdirected. And excuse me, having Ariada's whole motivation being enacting revenge on the group for the death of the Liger Queen was always like, well, she means well because her motivations aren't driven from an antagonistic really role. She's just out for revenge because of the slight that's been made against her. Love her design. Love the weird, creepy plush dolls that she carries. They're really creepy and weird. They remind me a bit of like Rabbites from Secret of Mana. So I love her to death. And also, I mean, we're talking spoilers here. She's also, I think, the only one that died, which I was super bummed out about. And all of the other ones were really bummed about her too. Like Anise was sad for her. Largo, I think, was sad for her. And I think that's what it was. When he was carrying her away and Anise was crying, he was like, "Don't insult her with your tears." And I was like, damn. That's rough, but oh, I'm about it.
Yeah, I want to say she was like the first one that you like, and then like none of the other ones, like you said, died. They all like got defeated, and then other than maybe Sync, I don't remember if Sync died or if Sync just like fell and you never saw them again.
I think they fell. I don't remember them dying. I can check. I can check.
So my answer to that, actually, ironically enough, because what I just said was probably Sync, and I think it's just because I really, really identified with the whole idea of being forced into a role that you don't really embody. Because all Sync really was is he's like, I'm tired of wearing this fucking mask everywhere, and I just have to kind of like go around, and you guys are stupid. But it was just a his motivation was really just that they were like, your personality is shit, so we're not going to like let you do anything, but they never tried to help him. And I really kind of felt bad for him because of that.
Found out just now, yeah, I completely forgot. So he gets defeated by the group, and then his body starts to wear down due to the overexertion of power on his body, and he passed away. I think that was when, yeah, he tried to kill them with a trap, but they were saved due to hyperresonance. So, okay. I might have to, yeah, I have to replay this game now.
Here's gonna be a bad thing, because I'm planning on, and granted you don't have to come along, but I'm planning to do something like this every time I finish a game on YouTube. So if I do that, you're gonna be like, Raka, I can't keep to talk about these games because then I have to keep playing them again because I keep remembering they're amazing.
Yeah. And also, it's like we said at the very beginning, there's just so many different locking interpieces to link from one to the other. So many different characters and plot threads. And I know for a fact that even with the guide here, like looking at it and just recalling the things and characters that I've seen, I want to try. I know that I'm forgetting some stuff. I know that there's some really important pieces of lore or parts of the story that I'm completely forgetting, that I'm just losing right now.
Oh, absolutely. Like it's always, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. This was just okay. It's been nearly 10 years. For me, actually, probably 10 years since I played this. What still lasts? Because I know this is a game that means a lot to me, and I just wanted to know how much of it was still resonating. Wink.
Where's the hyper resonance that teleports me out of the Steam call? Oh my god. Oh, hyper resonance, do your stuff. Take it away. Joke. Horrible.
But no, like I said, I'll probably do this intermittently. I do think if we keep doing it, we may trade back and forth and let Radio do a game he really, really loves. Not obviously that he's like, oh good, I don't want to talk about Tales of the Abyss, this game is shit. Like, obviously you like it. But I definitely know that it's not a game that sits as close to your heart as it does mine.
Like I told you before, it's a good game. It probably places second overall for me. My Tales game is always Vesperia. I love Vesperia, but I do love Abyss.
No, I love Abyss. It's hard for me to say. Abyss is number one, but Vesperia is a super close number two, and then Symphonia and Xillia are both super, super good as well. Any like final thoughts on Tales of the Abyss before we sign off?
Tales of the Abyss is definitely a game worth playing. I'm not too sure how you could play it, because the last entries are PlayStation 2 and the 3DS. I don't know if it's got any other official releases, either via Steam or anything else. Question, strange question, I'll say, even before we sign off. This, I didn't know, apparently had an anime adaptation.
I've heard that. I have never seen it.
Okay, yeah, I had no clue. 26 episodes.
Although
Curious now.
A lot of the like Tales games ended up having something with anime, because I remember after I played Zestiria, I was told not to watch the anime because the anime like kind of spoiled some things for Berseria.
Oh wow, okay.
Because those aren't the same world, if you didn't know.
Had no clue. No, not at all. But yeah, would definitely recommend this game through whatever means and or methods that can be done. Get your old PlayStation 2 out. Go grab that 3DS from your cousin that you let him borrow that one summer. Play this game. It's super solid, super good.
Actually, go to your cousin's house. Don't tell him you're coming. Just walk up and be like, I want my 3DS back. And he'll be like, what the
Take it. Get it back.
Can you imagine? Especially if you like let him borrow it like 8 years ago and you just suddenly show up at his doorstep one day and you're like, give it to me?
Like, wait, what? Oh, hey, it's nice to meet you. Just shove him out of the way. Like, oh, I'm taking it back now. It's a 3DS.
3DS, I can't explain. Give it to me now.
I need it.
That would be such a like unique but also amazing introduction to like imagine that as a character introduction. It shows up. I can't explain. Give me this back.
Sounds like a video game title if I ever heard one. I can't explain. Give me the 3DS back. But what about you, Raka? Any final thoughts on the wonderful Tales of Abyss?
I mean, I want to echo you and say I kind of want to play it again now. I still have a PS2. I still have a PS2, and I still have a working copy, which is amazing. Fantastic. But yeah, overall, I have to say that Tales of the Abyss kind of holds a special place in my heart. It is one of the few games where I've always been very, very big about characters having a narrative, like, development arc over the course that you play them. Very, very, very often, the only thing that changes over the course of a game is the status of the world or the overall plot, but the character is largely the same front to back. Looking at you, Lloyd or Irving. But yeah, like, the way that Luke, but also a lot of the characters, Guy also gets touched by the plot and becomes a better person. Tyr learns to mellow the fuck out over the course of the game and actually has some of her severity kind of scaled away. Although as I say that, I end up making myself look worse because Jade is the same guy the entire way through because he's just too cool for school.
You can't change perfection.
And Anise is totally in the game.
Oh no! Yeah, she certainly is.
She might get changed by the plot. I don't remember. Like, I forgot her hair color and her doll and her name.
Don't worry, you will be the first. I've already forgotten about her now.
That is a good question. Actually, I guess you can't say because you looked at the wiki. I'm like, did you remember she was in the game before you looked at the wiki?
I'll tell you honestly, I would not. No. As soon as I think of main party, I think of my main four, which was Luke, Guy, Tyr, and Natalia. Anise never left the bench.
Yeah, I want to say that was about the same for me. And Natalia actually did. I did use her sub. I think Natalia and Guy traded out some. Tyr was always in there. I think the real reason that it ended up Natalia did not get to play a whole lot was that I always liked having two melee characters, two range characters. And Natalia was ranged, so she had to compete for her slot with the healer and the mage.
No chance.
Yeah, it was very, very difficult for me to justify Natalia over Jade, who was my probably favorite character, or Natalia over the girl that keeps me from dying.
Just an easy swappable. I almost always utilized items in Tales. That's how I kind of kept ahead of the curve for the party.
I did as well, and if I remember correctly, I also think Abyss was one of the most tactical of the Tales games. Like, you really had to stop and change who you were controlling depending on who was getting targeted by spells. Because a lot of spells would target an area, not a person, but your party members were dumb as hell, and they wouldn't get out of the circle. I also remember that was one of the things that... Because I'm actually remembering fighting Nebelheim, and I never beat her. I got her down to like 70%, which was impressive. But yeah, she'd use these massive AoE spells, and I would have to, like, very quickly pause the game, go to, like, Luke, have Luke run here, then immediately go to Guy, tell Guy to run here, then immediately go to... And, like, just continuously pausing and controlling all the characters at once. It almost honestly felt like playing Baldur's Gate, where you were just having to control all 6 party members and just pause like crazy.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
The regular fights weren't like that, but I do remember for a lot of the more recent Tales games, you just use life bottles and you use healing in order to keep people up, but you don't actually have to change what your primary character is very much. It's not like you swap back and forth between who you're controlling. But with Abyss, I was doing that like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have to, like, jump over here, use a group heal. Okay, Jade, I need you to go ahead and freeze this area of the battlefield. Now go into Guy, go ahead and, just blah, 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 blah.
Now, I'm wondering if that's because it was your first Tales game. Like, if you go back now, would you still do that with all the experience that you've had with Tales games?
That is a very good question. Because, yeah, it was... I don't know if it was just that the party members were worse at avoiding things, or if it was just that I did not quite understand the combo system. And so I made up for my inability to play with exceptional ability to micromanage. None of you hire me to be your boss.
That is definitely the question of sorts. Then, will the systematic strategic mind still hold up, or at this point we'll be like, nah, it's not needed. I know my party. I know what I need to do. I'm used to these games. Let's just do this.
You're almost convincing me to play it again, like right now.
I mean,
Unfortunately, I actually do have to go play something else right about now, so I'll go ahead and sign off.
no worries. Thank you so much for having me on board for this talk, Raka. This was really fun. We got to do this again.
Oh, absolutely. It was. I didn't think we'd go for as long as we did. I was like, okay, like 20 minutes, we'll get through the plot, and then we're just like an hour plus that.
Told you, there's no way to predict these things.
I'm already telling you, editing this thing is going to be a bear.
Oh, forgive me then. Forgive me, future Raka. Forgive me. I got her into this mess. It's my fault.
I mean, I did ask Radio here, so I can't actually blame him. I was at work one day, and I was just like, hey, do you want to do this? And Radio was like, I think I've played that game. I mean, sure.
Very cordially inviting me here to steal time off of her life clock. To talk about video games. Oh boy.
Just want to talk about video games. All right, thank you for being here, everyone. Thank you for seeing through this very, very, very long video. Holy shit.
Yeah.
See you later, everyone.
Goodbye.